Marge Ptaszek was searching for the purpose of her life and the truth that would tie everything together to make sense of what was taught and what was happening on our planet, the fire that was creating all the smoke. Through many experiences, she was finally led to the knowledge book that provided all the answers. She is now talking about this gift to humanity on Knowledge Book Radio, so all can be united in peace, love, and harmony. Please call 1-973-787-7035 or email mmjp99@gmail.com with questions. If you send your postal address to mmjp99@gmail.com, you will receive 3 chapters of the Knowledge Book as a gift. Now, here is your host, Marge Ptaszek.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marge Ptaszek, and you're listening to the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Ptaszek on Transformation Talk Radio. And for the next hour or so, we will continue our series of Omega Talks. And by now you know that they are given once a month on the 4th Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m. Pacific Time and 7 p.m. East Coast Time. And in these Omega Talks, that are part of the unification program of the Call to Friendship Association that's stationed in Turkey, and that's mentioned in the Knowledge Book, we basically take world knowledge and connect it to the union of central suns, which is called the Omega Dimension or the 19th dimension. Now, up until about 2000, or when the Knowledge Book actually came in and people started working with it, that Omega dimension has been completely sealed off, and we got no energies from that dimension at all. However, once the Knowledge Book was published, that dimension has been opened to the planet and to the humans on the planet, and we are now able, through the Knowledge Book, to obtain energies and frequencies and knowledge from the union of central suns or the 19th dimension. Now, of course, the Knowledge Book is part of the Alpha Entrance Omega Exit Project. So where the previous sacred texts were the Alpha part of the program, right now the Knowledge Book is giving us Part B, or the Beta, or the Omega part of the program. Now, the main website of Turkey is DKB, David Kite Boyd Mevlana.org.tr. Of course, preceded by www. The website for the Call to Friendship Association is www.calltofriendship, all one word, .org. And the United States website is www.usa.theknowledgebook, all one word, .net. So if you have any questions or you would like further information about any of these programs, please look at this emails. And of course, I'm available to answer any questions by emailing me at mmjp99@gmail.com. That's Mary John Peter 99@gmail.com, or through my cell phone, which is 973-787-7035, or you can text me as well at the same number. So I hope to hear from you if you have any questions or if you just want to talk about the Knowledge Book. So this month, or this topic for today, is called Evolution Aids. And who are they? What are they? And how do they help us on our evolutionary path? So one of the questions that the Knowledge Book asks us is, who are you? And the Knowledge Book in Fascicule 5 basically says, think for a moment. Who are you? What are you? Think profoundly just for a moment. Why have you come to the world? Ask this of yourselves. Well, those are really big questions. And even though we may get some answers, they may not be exactly the real answer. So when we would ask someone this question, who are you? In most cases, people will immediately give their name. So in my case, it's Marge. In other cases, it's Emma or Charlotte or Laura or Sophie or Jordan or Ryan or whatever. They will immediately say, I am so-and-so. But if you pose this question again, who are you? Even after they've answered their name, then they may further their explanation of who they are with some kind of a connection to a family or a group. I am a mother of 5 children. I'm a father of 2 children. I'm a child of so and such, or I am someone's cousin or mother or son or daughter or whatever. So we extend the circle from ourselves being our names, and we go into our family, immediate family circle. Now, if you ask that question again after being given those 2 answers, the answer may be, well, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a bus driver, I'm a chef, I am the one who answers the phone, I'm the receptionist, I am those people. And a lot of times people do associate themselves and identify themselves as their profession. But what's the real answer? Well, we're not there yet. So again, we're asking who they are. And then the circle becomes wider, and it's no longer a family. It's basically somehow connected to a cultural or a national identity. I am German, I am Bolivian, I am the president of a corporation, I am living in South America. It depends how open the people are and how trusting they are to let you know where they are and where they live. And then the second question the knowledge board asked was, what are you? And to this question, most people may reply, I am a human, or I am a person. Some may say, I am a spiritual being living its life on earth. Others, in response to the question, what are you, would say that the human is a unification of various interdependent and interconnected organ systems. So we're a concoction, we're a unification, a putting together of lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, bladder, the intestines, the skin, the brain. That's us. Basically, in physical terms, this is what we are. Other people may go even further and basically say that we are composed of certain elements, and those elements are oxygen, 65%, nitrogen, 3.2%, carbon, 18%, calcium, 1.5%, and phosphorus, 1.2%. And then there's other 5 elements that make up about 0.85% of the remaining mass: sulfur, potassium, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. And they're all essential elements. However, if you notice, iron is not even on this list. Iron, the one mineral that basically allows the blood cell, is composed around, in other words, the DNA of the blood cell is surrounding the iron molecule, and that iron molecule allows the blood to basically take up carbon dioxide and to take in oxygen, which of course, if you don't have either of those working properly, if you don't have enough iron, you have amnesia, then you become in a weakened state. But that element, iron, is not even on this list because it's so minuscule as far as the rest of the minerals and elements in our bodies. And then, of course, the other question was that the knowledge book asked us to think about profoundly, not just, oh yeah, fine, I'm here, I got to do this, but think about it really deeply. So to this question, why have you come to the world? I don't think anybody would just off the cuff answer, but they would have to think about it a bit. So there are some possible answers that could be given. Some person may say that they're here to write a successful Broadway play, or to create a symphony, or to raise a family. Others may say, well, yeah, I want to produce a blockbuster movie, or they want to discover new life forms, go into the jungle, or go into space, or go into under the sea to discover new life forms. Others may possibly say that they're here to help people by being a teacher or being in the medical profession. And some also may say to find happiness or to be famous. So there are many reasons that could be said as to, in response to the question, why are you here? So the knowledge book answers these three questions in the following way. In fascicle 47, it says, quote, humans are each a piece of God, formed by matter, brought into being by the unification of atoms, end quote. Then in fascicle 4, it states, quote, each of you are a light of the universe, a coat of God, end quote. Now, coat in the knowledge book glossary is described and identified as a height, an elevation. So we're some elevation of God, some little or high frequency of God. What we are, this is the second question that was posed. What are you? Is explained in fascicle 11. Quote, God designed an evolution tableau in accordance with his system of creation. This is an operational system parallel to the law of action that nature has on you. Existence has come into being by the cellular unification of amino acids. These amino acids are formed by the transformation of soil and water from the state of mud to organism. In other words, the single cell was formed in this manner, subject to the evolution plan. And it continues, as long as the single cell continues its evolution, it has been taken into the evolvement plan, and in this way, its cell awareness has developed. The developed cell consciousness has brought the living being into existence, end quote. Later, universal evolvement has begun by means of integrated bodies. So this is the knowledge book answer to who are you and what are you? And it continues in fascicle 48, quote, each human is a biological totality, with each body she, he uses in each dimension she, he is in. If we speak by the language of the medium you are in, she, he is a biological robot. However, this robot discovers both itself and its essence self while it serves the ordinance of cosmoses, end quote. When you think of the organ systems that are in the body, the way they interconnect, the way they send signals to each other, it is a robot, a biological robot. Supplement 7. Quote 1. The external forms are bodies present in the dimension of crude matter, are bodies prepared for the evolution of humanity, end quote. So our bodies basically have been formed, have been created for the internal entity that manipulates this body and that allows that internal entity to live in the world dimension. It is there to help us to evolve, to go through experiences, to live, and to be able to evolve in that form. And basically, this also implies that we come here completely ready, completely prepared for the life that we need to live, for the programs that we need to follow, and for experiencing what we need to experience in order to continue our evolution and succeed on that path. So why have you come to the world? And here I would like to say we are here to evolve. And we are here with the mission to disseminate the knowledge book. We are here to unite as a totality at the frequency of Mevlana, at the coat of Mevlana, at the height of Mevlana, as presented in Fascicle 55. Quote, the totality will be a totality that will be loving, patient, tolerant, forgiving, who will be able to place her enemy over her head like a crown, and who will not have an adverse thought about anyone, including her own self. There is no limit here. Self-sacrifice, faith, love, patience, genuine mission consciousness, that is the serious adoption of the mission, are the matters in question in this operational ordinance. So the qualities that we're supposed to be striving for are here, and what we need to accomplish is also given in the knowledge book. Then in Fascicle 6, there are some other questions the knowledge book asks. Quote, where did you come from? Where are you going? First, you have to attain this consciousness. Only those who attain this consciousness can give up the prayer beads in their hands, end quote, to transition beyond the religious dimension. So basically, we have to go beyond the religious training we've been under and transitioning under, evolving under up till now, and proceed onto the universal dimension. So where did you come from? Well, we come from God, and we are a mode of God. We are on an evolutionary journey, starting from the micro and arriving at the macro. In this evolution chain, we went through many forms. We started by being a particle of soil, then we became a rock, a blade of grass, an insect, a plant, an animal, and eventually we arrived at the current human form. So on this diagram, you see how the scientific minds have shown us through Darwin as to how each entity has gone on to become a higher and higher and higher entity up until we get to the point of being a human. So everyone is evolving, everything's going through. Now, the only thing is Darwin's theory is incomplete. It doesn't take into account a lot of the things that are also happening that are explained in the knowledge book. So where are we going? We are going back to the origin. We're going back to the golden dimension. And our goal is to attain the consciousness in complete alignment with the universal theory. And the universal theory is explained in Fascicle 48, quote, here there is respect for the whole, there is love, there is discipline, there is not to go astray of the words told. This is a universal theory. And the discipline here is a method formed by the respect and the love of the human for the human. This is a general statement, gives a general outline of what universal theory is. However, if you want to know what that actually looks like in terms of actions, in terms of what kind of attitudes and what kind of behaviors are expected because of this universal theory, is covered in Fascicle 28. Quote, because the first principle in the law, which is the original law of the universe, which is the golden dimension law, the first principle in the law was as follows. Whoever you are, So is your brother, sister. 2, mothers are the mothers of all the children. Fathers are the fathers of all the children. 3, in one morsel, partiality even as small as a grain of wheat cannot be made. 4, everything will be equally distributed to everyone. 5, one who does not radiate his/her love to his/her surroundings, who does not let flow his/her energy to his/her essence, is transferred beyond the curtain of immortality. He is sent to the principle of existence, program of reincarnation, and karma. So this is where we are going back to. Somehow, if you look around the world today, you're basically not at that place. We think that biological mother is only responsible for her biological children, same thing for the father. We think that others are different from us, that we are separate from each other. However, we're all brothers and sisters. And then there is no favoritism. There is no someone special that we give special preferential treatment to, and others we do not give anything to. So this is like in one morsel, in one bite. And a grain of wheat is tiny. You could also say that grain of rice. It is so small we cannot differentiate between people. Whether you're a friend or enemy, everyone is your friend and everything is to be distributed equally to everyone. So again, share and share alike. And the last one, we are here to basically radiate our love, share our love to our surroundings. And at the same time, we need to be in this state where we can absorb cosmic energies through thought power, meaning draw down energy into our essence. And if we do this, then we'll be going on to the next part of the program, or that we'll be successful in our evolutionary journey and will be welcome into the dimension of immortality. However, if that is not the case, we will continue the program of reincarnation and karma until we learn the lesson of sharing and accepting all as our children or all as our parents. Then we will be going through this reincarnation and karma program. I mean, if you could just imagine a world where this kind of philosophy is practiced, when this kind of ordinance is put into effect, what kind of world it would be. Now, how do we get to that state? How do we accomplish this? The Knowledge Book assures us that we have never been alone on the path from micro to macro. So from the time that we were a speck until the time we arrived at a human form and until we arrived at this state of our existence, there have always been helping hands to guide our steps. Now, I don't know whether you've ever thought about your past and see how it went and what was going on, but when you do think about your past, you may realize that there has always been something or someone guiding, directing, correcting our steps. And my analogy to this is that sometimes I feel like I'm a ball in a pinball machine, and someone is playing me and making sure that I go and get paddled here and there and everywhere to make sure that I go in the right direction and take the correct step on my personal evolution journey. So from the time that we arrived at the human form and started our evolutionary progress, there have been many teachers, many programs, and many systems to help us in this process. Now, the last 6,000 years have brought the gurus that taught us to draw down cosmic energies through thought power. That everyone successfully completed this program. Those who did went on to be teachers for the next generation of humans for the next program. So the next teaching program was the text of Moses. And then came the texts of Jesus Christ and then Muhammad, who each came with their own knowledge and taught in a manner that suited the social consciousness in their own particular time frame. So basically, we've been going through a stepwise process, a step-by-step evolution program where each teacher, whether it was a guru, your meditation teacher, or whether it's the Torah or the New Testament or the Quran, each one of them came with a specific program, with a specific way that was advised to act, and then practices that need to be accomplished. And they came in with their own particular knowledge that basically taught in a manner that was perfectly suited for the social consciousness of their particular time. And during all this time, we were surrounded by our family and later by our society that initiated us to patience, tolerance, love, and acceptance. Those qualities that will allow us to basically get to, get to the golden dimension. Now I'd like to ask an additional question, the one that the knowledge book doesn't ask specifically, and that is, when are you? It is important to note that at every stage of our evolution, being in step with the time consciousness is very important. Each of the teachers during the past 6,000 years gave us a certain set of energies, frequencies, and knowledge. Each religious dimension, whether it was Moses or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, included the previous knowledge and energies and then added the next higher energies, frequencies, and knowledge. It is mandatory to go through the entire graduated process to ensure that we have a safe journey of increasing knowledge, energy, and frequency without hurting our constitutions. So let me give an example, and the knowledge book gives this example. If you have a 100-watt bulb, you cannot give it 1,000 watts of power because the light bulb basically disintegrates. So all these programs, all these ordinances that were given, whether it's the Torah, or whether it's the New Testament or the Old Testament, or the Quran, basically gave us specific ways of living that allowed us to gradually increase our energy, knowledge, and frequency. And at each step of the game, it was just enough to evolve us, just enough to get us on a higher step without hurting us, without destroying our bodies, because there's too much energy. So we have to make sure that we gradually go through this, and the religious teachings were specifically designed to allow us to do exactly that. So again, when are you? The year 2000 marked the end of the religious periods. So as of the year 2000, the religious period was over. And what this means is that we should have finished our religious education and training prior to this. But if we haven't succeeded by the year 2000 in going through the entire evolutionary path or the religious path, then we were given 3 cosmic ages or 300 years, and that counting was started with 1900. And these 3 cosmic ages were allocated for those who have not completed their religious training to complete their training. So if you see around yourselves, there is more and more religious fervor. There is more and more people going back to church, back to synagogue, back to their gurus, back to their imams, because they are at the step they need to be able to finish their graduated training. Now, besides this, in the next, actually, 200 years, because the first cosmic age is finished, we are now in the second cosmic age. We also need to complete our transition from the 18th dimension to the 19th dimension, transitioning from Alpha to Omega during that time. Alpha being the religious training and Omega being the knowledge book training. So in order to proceed to the next sacred text or the next enlightenment guide, one had to be fully integrated with the energies and the knowledge that is given by the previous sacred text. Currently, we are in the second cosmic age, as I said, of the 3 cosmic ages given to humanity in order for us to accomplish our religious training and to arrive, through the help of the knowledge book, to the 76th energy dimension, or the 19th omega dimension. Now, this will enable the human of the 23rd century to be able to advance to the golden age and then onto the path of light. So again, we are gradually being prepared. We are gradually growing towards the omega dimension. We're going towards the golden dimension, our origin and the origin of everything. Now, if you think about it, if you have to go through all the religious texts or accomplish the evolutions of those religious texts in a shorter period of time, that means evolution experiences are getting more difficult because they are all being now squeezed into a shorter and narrower time period. So last time we talked about Milarepa, where he had horrible experiences trying to build a tower, a nine-story tower that he had to break down again, and he physically put this together. That was his karma. That was his removing the consequences of his negative actions. So we need to finish our religious training first, and then we need to finish our program of getting to Omega through the knowledge book. But because the knowledge book has the essence frequencies of all the previous sacred texts, the process is accelerated and we can proceed more swiftly and successfully to also finish our transition to the Omega dimension in the time frame provided. The trick in the knowledge book is that it reads us. We're reading it, but it also reads us. Then it can see what we have missing, what experience we will need to go through. It sees what energies we still need, and it gradually gives those energies and frequencies, it gives those cosmic energies to us at a rate that is perfect for us individually. So it works with each individual one at a time at their particular rate, at their particular energy frequency and knowledge level, and gradually allows them to safely arrive at the next dimension, at the next energy level. But besides the religious books, we had other evolutionary aids. But the religious texts, the knowledge book, the teachers, our family, and society in general are not the only aids that help on our evolutionary path. There are animal friends that are very instrumental in training and testing us and teaching us specific traits and as role models for others. One of these animal friends that comes into our home is, of course, the cat. Now, of course, we like to think that we have chosen them, that we pick them out of the crowd, or we pick them out wherever we see cats, whether it's at a store or in the neighborhood. But the opposite is the truth. They chose to come into our lives. We may catch their eye in a store or shelter, or maybe they follow us home or show up on our doorstep. There's many a story where all of a sudden the person didn't have a cat, they opened their door and there's a cat waiting for them. Or in my case, I went to a shelter because somehow I felt like I needed a cat. So there was this little black kitten, arms wide open and ready to come into my lap. So the cats come into our lives, and they also leave our lives if their work with us is finished. Now, the next few slides will give you a picture of a writer's view of how cats are teaching her patients, among other traits. So this is coming from Catster, and it's an article by Catherine Home. So she says, they help me laugh. Some cats could try anyone's patience. There's many a time that my little cat, except she's not that little, sees something on the desk, sees something on the table, and then very subtly starts moving that object off the table, off the shelf, and then it's on the floor. Or in another situation, someone gave me a very beautiful centerpiece that I left on my front entry, and I kept finding it on the floor because they like that centerpiece too. Or if someone gives me flowers or I wind up with flowers in a vase, I often find that vase with water spilled out and flowers all over the floor because, of course, the cat was very interested in that vase and those flowers and thought that it would be much better arranged on the floor. Often, the cat who tries my patience the most is the same cat who can soften a situation in an instant. This is the cat who knocks something off the counter and then looks at you with such a sweet expression that you can't help but melt. Or the cat who does some patience testing stunt and then leaps into your arms, snuggling his head into your chest and purring. So in my case, they go nuts twice a day. They go chasing each other. They go chasing around the apartment. And eventually they settle down. But during that time, you're afraid that something's going to go crashing and they will be crashing out the window. I mean, I have um, screens and guards, but you still, if they're going at such great speed, somehow they always manage to stop as if they're stopping on a dime and know exactly, how far they could go before it was dangerous for them. And they're also distractions. So she says they distract me. Want to forget about some frustrating or patience trying life situation? Watch your cats. They'll give you an instant distraction. Your cat will be happy to oblige, whether it's an instant demand to play or vocalization or feeding time. Your cat wants to help. And even though it may feel as if they're testing your patience, you can reframe that. They're not testing your patience. They're giving you an opportunity to forget about something else that is trying your patience. They're letting you learn and practice better patience. Anything can be reframed, just try it. In my case, at feeding time, or when they're hungry, which may not necessarily be at the usual feeding time, I find that the cats get closer and closer to me. And when it gets to be like 5 minutes or 10 minutes past feeding time, then all three of them are in my face. I get surrounded by cats, and they're boring holes in me and saying, "Hello, it's time. Time to feed us. Let's go." And of course, me being the good servant that I am, accede to their demands and they get food. And of course, they remind me that I am not in control. And this is, as the writer of this article, Catherine Home, continues, this is a super lesson. Much of my struggle with patience probably stems from my want to control everything possible. Right now, I am reminded of how futile it is to think I am in control. I'm trying to work, and as I'm typing this, Norton climbs into my lap, sits on my forearms, and warms my hands as I type. I'm never ever in control, and life gets a lot easier when I realize that. So I just go with the flow and enjoy his warmth and purring body on my forearms until he decides to move on. My cats are always teaching me that I really have no control over anything, and that's okay. It's a freeing perspective when I'm able to achieve it. Now, this little diagram or this little picture of a cat on the keyboard, my cat, actually one in specific, her nickname is Magic Paws, but we'll cover that story a little bit later. And again, we continue with the article from Catster. They help me wait out what I'm waiting for. Cats are the best waiters in the world, and sometimes I need to be too. When a cat watch a cat mousing. He'll stare at a corner for hours on end, hoping to capture that hidden mouse. He's not impatient. It never crosses his mind. He knows that with waiting, good things come. If one door closes, another opens. And that's a good reminder for me. Have your cats ever helped you with patience? Do they teach you or try you or both? In my case, it's both. Now, here's some experiences that I have had. I was watching a cat video because I often watch cat videos to basically get me into a better mood or get me motivated to do something. Anyway, in a cat video showed a kitten who was not weaned, meaning that this little kitten was still feeding from its mother. And he went off and came back with what looked like a newly born kitten, and looks like that kitten did not have a mother and therefore was not able to eat. Now, this kitten may be 2 weeks old, maybe 3 weeks old, maybe a month old. This kitten brought that newly born kitten to its mother cat, and the mother cat immediately accepted it as her own. So this for me was an amazing example of an animal that was modeling the behavior of the golden dimension. So basically, this kitten and its mother realized that we're all brothers and sisters, that the mother is the mother of all the children, of all the kittens, and that everything is to be shared equally. So this is one example of how cats can model behavior for us. Another model is when a cat will be able to nurse puppies, or a dog is able to nurse cats, or a cat raising chickens. There was one story where a cat saw a hen incubating her eggs, and something happened to the chickens. So the cat took over the incubation until the chickens hatched. And the chickens thought that the little chicks thought that it was their mother, and he took care of those little chicks. So, again, modeling behavior that we are to love everyone and everyone is our child. So now we're going to cover some little fun facts about cats in case you knew or didn't know. Now, despite the fact that we see cats drinking milk from saucers, actual studies show that cats are lactose intolerant and should avoid it entirely. Though my cat Peaches loves ice cream. Surprisingly, the longest living cat on record, according to the Guinness Book, belongs to the late Cream Puff of Austin, Texas, who lived to the ripe old age of 38 years and 3 days. Now, the Cat Fanciers Association, or CFA, recognizes 44 breeds of cats. A cat's cerebral cortex contains about twice as many neurons as that of dogs. Cats have 300 million neurons, whereas dogs have about 160 million. And actually, when I watch my cats, when they want to accomplish something, you could see they're after something, and they'll sit there and figure out how it is that they're going to accomplish it and go ahead and actually do it. So at one point, I had a kitten, and they wanted to get into my lap. Now, of course, climbing up my shins was not a way to do it. So I saw the cat, or actually the kitten, looking around, and he saw that there was a box, and the box was next to something else, and that something else was next to me. So they jumped on the box, and then to the next thing, and then from that thing, they jumped into my lap. So they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, and they used their own logic to actually get there. Their strongest sense is the smell, and this is what they rely on to identify people and objects. This sense of smell is 14 times better than a human's. Cats can only sweat through their paws and nowhere else on their body. Now, this is something interesting. A cat only has the ability to move their jaws up and down, not side to side like a human can. A group of cats is called a clouder. A female cat can be referred to as a Molly or a Queen, and a male cat is often labeled as a Tom. Now, if you notice the cats, they have the ability to rotate their ears 180 degrees. They have 32 muscles that help them do that. 70% of your cat's life is spent asleep, and the rest of the 30% is putting us through our evolutionary paces. And a cat's nose is as unique as a human's fingerprint. They also have 3 eyelids. Owning a cat is scientifically proven to be beneficial for your health. In my particular case, the cats are instrumental for my recovery from an operation where the purring, where the cat actually specifically went to the site of the operation and helped to heal it. Now, this is something, again, that we should model or follow their modeling behavior. Cats prefer to remain non-confrontational. They will not fight to show dominance, but rather to stake their territory. Cats will actually go to extremes to avoid one another in order to prevent a possible confrontation. So this is a behavior that we should actually model, actually should follow and learn how to do. And lastly, unlike humans, cats are usually lefties. Studies indicate that their left paw is typically their dominant paw. Polydactyl cats, a cat with 1 or 2 extra toes on their paws, have this as a result of a genetic mutation. These cats are also referred to as Hemingway cats because writer Ernest Hemingway reportedly owned dozens of them at his home in Key West, Florida. Sir Isaac Newton, besides discovering gravity and calculus and did all kinds of things, he is also credited with creating the concept of the pet door that many cats use today to travel outdoors. I can imagine Sir Isaac Newton sitting at his desk trying to compose his treatises, and the cat kept constantly interrupting him to open the door so they could go outside. So finally, I think he was frustrated enough or had this idea that, okay, why don't the cats go outside by themselves? So they created a door for that cat to have that freedom to do so. Now, the average cat can jump 8 feet in a single bound, nearly 6 times its body length. Unlike humans, cats cannot detect sweetness, which likely explains why they are not drawn to it at all. Well, except my cat who likes ice cream. Ginger tabby cats can have freckles around their mouths and on their eyelids. A cat has the power to sometimes heal themselves by purring. A domestic cat's purr has a frequency of between 25 and 150 hertz, which happens to be the frequency at which muscles and bones best grow and repair themselves. And like I said before, one of my cats was instrumental in healing after my operation. Amazing little cat. Now, cats only use their meows to talk to humans, not each other. The only time they meow to communicate with other felines is when they are kittens to signal to their mother. Now, the other thing I would want to mention is this. The cats have an uncanny ability to sense your psychological state, to sense where it is that you're hurting or something that needs attention on your body. And that is a place they will go and they will purr. I find myself that if I'm in a funk trying to figure something out and I get too tense, then one of my cats comes over and kind of meows at me to get me out of that funk and get me onto a more productive track. Now, this is again personal experience, and the picture you're seeing is a picture of Patches. I guess it's pretty obvious why she got that name. It's morning. I'm sitting at my desk. My cat Patches, aka Magic Paws, comes to the desk and lays down on all fours, ready to be groomed. If I don't immediately pick up the brush, she sits up, looks at me straight in the eye as if saying, "It's grooming time. Get with the program." So I pick up the brush. She immediately lays down again and starts purring very loudly as I proceed to brush her. Now, she is the only cat that loves to be brushed. The other two cats, and I have three, if you want her off the desk, you take out the brush and she scoots off. And the middle one, the middle-aged one, basically likes being brushed, but for only a certain period of time. So her nickname is Magic Paws because when she walks over my keyboard, all of a sudden she hits some combination of keys where my mouse pad is frozen, the sound quality gone, hits all kinds of things, and I have no idea what to do to bring the laptop back to its original state where I could hear, where I could manipulate the mouse, and I can go ahead and work on my laptop. So Magic Paws. Actually, there's a friend who I have, and Magic Paws also has something else. She's the one who removed the several keys from my previous laptop. So this laptop had to be purchased because the previous laptop, the keys are removed by, of course, patches. But in the case of my friend, she has a cockatiel, and she cannot leave the laptop open for any length of time, even if it's 2 minutes, because the cockatiel comes in and picks off the keys. So all kinds of pets help us in our evolution and in our learning: patience, tolerance, acceptance, love, forgiveness, all those beautiful qualities we are evolving towards. Now, when you look at it, when you look at our favorite pet, it automatically opens your heart. It puts a smile on our face and relaxes us. And because we are relaxed, we are then able to absorb more cosmic energies. And this is a minute example of the power of having pets in general and cats in particular. It's no accident that so many households have multiple pets in their home. So I don't remember the exact percentage, but some households not only have cats, but they have dogs. There are other pets as well. You have dogs, we have parakeets, we have cats, we have lizards, we have spiders, we have all kinds of pets, and those pets are basically teaching us a lot. Now, what they are teaching us most of all, not only to love and accept, but most importantly, they are teaching us to serve. And we are here to serve and learn how to serve. So not only our furred, feathered, and leather-skinned friends are on our evolution support team, we have everyone and everything around us, visible and invisible, is enabling us to develop the beautiful characteristics required to become a genuine human and therefore be able to enter the golden age and continue on to the path of light. And the knowledge book is instrumental for us to be able to accomplish our evolution, not only the 6,000 years previous, but the next 300 years to get us into the golden age, and therefore another 1,000 years later to be able to go onto the path of light. No, the 1,000 years after the golden age will be the path of golden light. So it's an amazing journey, and we have lots of friends. Each one of us has at least one spiritual guardian, and the higher you are on the evolution ladder, the more of those spiritual friends you have. So how many times have you walked out of the building, only to a building, or walked out of your car and you got this little thought that, oh, I forgot my keys. Oh, maybe I should do this, or oh, maybe I should do that. And then it turns out that once you brought that thing with you, sometimes not even knowing why you're doing that, it turns out that wherever you're going to, that was specifically necessary and needed. And whoever dropped that thought into your head was actually helping us. And of course, we have our family that actually teaches us initially to love, to accept, to forgive, and of course, patience and tolerance. So these are the characteristics that we need to have, that we need to develop, and we go on from there. So nothing is left to chance. Nothing is left to be an accident. Everything is out there for us to be able to evolve. And starting with our bodies and finishing up with our entire environment. So it's no accident that we are where we are and we are who we are, because it's all a perfect ordinance, a perfect perfect mechanism, perfect system that allows us to evolve and get to the desired result. So before we finish for today, I would like to remind you that the Knowledge Book website for Turkey is www.dkb. Actually dash mevlana.org.tr. Again, www.dkb-mevlana.org.tr. The United States website for information and contact information for to get the knowledge book is www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. Again, www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. And the website for the Call to Friendship Association, which these talks are in conjunction with, is www.calltofriendship.org. So thank you very much. And of course, please do text me or call me or email me with any questions you may have about this topic or any other topic that you may have. And of course, my telephone number is 973-787-7035. And my email number is email address is mmjp99@gmail.com. Again, Mary John Peter 99@gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from you and perhaps maybe suggestions for additional topics we would like us to cover. And that's all she wrote for today. So please continue on your journey towards the light and towards the knowledge book, and continue on to that. Nothing is an accident. Nothing is useless. Nothing is futile. We are all on this path, and we are all on this path together. So the quicker we are able to take on and learn what our little friends are able to teach us, the sooner we will succeed, and the sooner we will be able to embody not only the universal theory of respect, but also to abide by and live and embody the original constitution for the universe. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Ptaszek. Marge was led to the Knowledge Book, a gift to humanity at its time of transition to the golden age that provides the truth, energies, and knowledge. Now she shares information from and answers questions about the Knowledge Book with you the fourth Tuesday each month at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net and tune in next time for another amazing show on Knowledge Book Radio.